Hello and welcome back to another podcast. Today's podcast is a bit of a special one because joining me today is Harlequins and England U20 rugby player Fin Baxter. So, Fin, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Rudy. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Thank you for joining me.
No worries.
So, Fin, first things first, tell me a bit about yourself. Like, when did you start playing rugby? What position do you play? Like, when did you start?
So I started playing rugby when I was 5
Yeah.
at Cobham Rugby Club, and enjoyed it ever since. Dad was one of the coaches along with the other dads down at Cobham during the minis. Had a lot of fun there, and then eventually when I got to senior school at Wellington College,
Yeah.
things started getting real serious with the Queen's Academy and developing there and trying to impress there. And then it's my second year now, so almost 2 years ago, I guess, got offered an academy contract, a senior academy contract with Quins, and I've enjoyed my time so far.
Very good, very good. So when growing up, when did you decide, oh, I want to be a rugby player, oh, I'm actually quite good at this, I could go all the way? Like, when did you decide?
At age 13, when I first got into the academy,
Yeah.
it was such a cool moment, being like, I'm part of it, like the pathway almost now. I'm on the right track, I'm in the right place, but it's nowhere near done. And I mean, I always had in the back of my head, that's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a professional rugby player, but you got to kind of like prove to yourself almost that you can do it, and you actually really want to do it day in, day out, get better. And I reckon around aged 15, 16,
Yeah.
once I was playing first team rugby for Wellington College, that I was really, really kind of excited at the prospect of doing. But again, you can't just go out and say, "Oh, that's what I want to do," because you got to have some feasibility and expectations of yourself. You can't just say, you've got to believe it yourself.
Yeah. So, did you have an inspiration growing up? Like, did you look up to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, obviously, it's the classic, like Richie McCaw, David Pocock, back when I used to play 8. So those are my idols when I used to play 8. But as I kind of grown up and grown into my tight head prop boots, it's more people like Tyg Furlong, Mako Vanapola, those kind of ball playing, not versatile but almost agile props that can still do the hard graft.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say the school you were at was very good at rugby, Wellington College. You won a lot of things there. So tell me what you won there and how it felt to be winning all the trophies and all the games.
So we were a very good year.
You were
at Wellington. We over our 5 years we lost one game.
Was that against like some Irish team or something?
No, it was against Sedbergh in in our last year, which was frustrating.
That must be frustrating.
Me. However, so in our second year at Wellington, so year 10, we won the National Cup with a final at Twickenham, which was so cool. I still remember it today.
That must be pretty cool, playing at Twickenham, playing on the actual grass of Twickenham, the famous ground.
Yeah,
like,
not many
sick.
Not many boys can say that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the team I was a part of, we all can say that. And it's so cool, so cool. And then I had and what else? When we were in lower sixth, we narrowly missed out on the. Oh no, we didn't. Oh, I can't even remember.
Was it
I
the
think we
Daily
won.
Mail?
Yeah, I think we won the Daily Mail in my lower
Yeah,
sixth year. Yeah, which was, and that was a really good team as well. It joined with the year above us. They were a good year group too.
yeah,
And then back in my final year, uh, we won St Joe's Festival, which is like a 2 day
yeah,
15 tournament, which
yeah.
is kind of weird. There's nothing else like it, and it's so brutal. It is so brutal. I mean, you play something like 3 games worth, like 3 full games worth of matches over 2 days, and all the boys are just knackered and sore.
Yeah,
And it's a real
I remember my mum telling me you won it, and she was like, "Oh, it was so good because there were so many injuries, and they did so
yeah,
well."
exactly. We
Because
brought
if I remember correctly, you had like one sub in the final game, or no subs at all.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
something like that. We lost quite a few boys that weekend, but
but you're
and
determined and you
it's
fought for it and you
strange.
won. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's just such a strange format to get used to because they're shortened games as well, but in 15. So
yeah,
when you really get your chance, you got to take it. But okay, anyway, yeah. So we won St Joe's, which well actually it meant that we were the first school in England to win every major trophy. That trophy, so
ooh,
that was a yeah.
that's good.
Not many people know that, and then we won the Champions Trophy, the Champions Cup trophy.
Yeah,
Oh, we also did that in lower sixth. Sorry, that I forgot about that. We did that in lower sixth and upper sixth,
so you
which
won it
was
2 years in a row.
yeah. That was well again very hard and very impressive. But this is the upper sixth year that we narrowly lost out on a Daily Mail. Where it was like a 4 horse race going into the last weekend, and
Yeah,
we couldn't quite do it because we lost to Sedbergh a couple of weeks back.
but
But
if I remember as well, I think the team that won, I can't remember who won, but they had played much easier games.
yeah, but it's one of those competitions where you can't it can't be judged perfectly fairly because obviously
Yeah,
everyone doesn't play everyone, and you know what I mean. Like you can't make it exclusive leagues because some year groups are much better and much worse than
that's true. Yeah.
the years gone before them. So it's the closest thing to fair. But yeah, you're right. The team that this Cranley, well, arguably had, in our opinions, easier games, but
I
they won
mean,
at the end of the day, and we didn't.
yeah,
So hands down to them for being unbeaten that year.
yeah, fair enough. Like, you can't really say, oh, they had so much easier games because you never know. It's rugby; anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's rugby,
But I think it is fair to say they had much easier games than what Wellington had.
uh, yeah, I get in. I guess you could, but yeah, but looking back on it, it's just the wins over teams like Whitgift, Clifton, Millfield, like some real big rugby schools, and our title fair was said, but you can look back on with a lot of pride and kind
Yeah,
of be
because
like, yeah,
they're tough to beat, and they did
exactly,
it.
real tough to be, and especially with the boys that I captained through the 5 years, they can
Yeah,
all say I've never lost to Millfield, I've never lost to Clifton,
yeah,
and it's
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, it's quite a impressive thing
it's
to
quite a big
say.
achievement to say that you've never lost to Whitgift because they're obviously a school with many like talents and people who have come through the ranks.
Yeah, exactly, another incredible rugby school, and yeah, we can say that kind of stuff, which is yeah
So,
impressive.
moving on to Harlequins. So last year,
Yeah.
you signed your first professional contract with Harlequins, a Premiership side. So how did that feel? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was really kind of because obviously I had a kind of sense after playing in the academy league
Yeah,
that I may be offered a contract because I played quite well and had played quite well the year before in the academy league.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, it's one of those moments where like you sat down with your academy manager and various other coaches and they kind of explain out that they're offering you a job to do it full time, which is well, like I said, since the age 15, 16, when I knew I really wanted to do it, it's pretty surreal, and
Yeah.
it's just so exciting, just so exciting. I don't think I stopped smiling for a couple of days, knowing I'd done that, and I kept it quiet. Only told my close mates, and yeah. And then when it got released a couple of months later, everyone was so shocked and happy. It was
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah, because like obviously playing from the academy since 13, then finally getting that contract, that must have felt just bloody amazing. Like, oh my
Yeah,
days,
like a
I'm
lot of
playing for
hard work
Harlequins.
been recognised. Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm moving on to your first game. So, who did you make your debut against?
Um, well, so there's a funny story behind this because I made my debut against Racing
Oh yeah,
in the Champions Cup, which is the rugby's European league.
yeah,
Um, so there'd been a few not complications at the club. There'd been a few injuries. There'd been a ban for like breaking COVID protocol, and
yeah.
it put me in the place where I was the second choice prop.
Second choice, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I got on against Munster. I think played 10 or so minutes and just charged around like a headless thing,
Yeah.
chasing people, trying to do as much as I can. And yeah, it was so cool. I mean, it felt like an out of body experience almost looking back on it, because I was on the same pitch as people like Curtly Beale, Finn Russell, Teddy Thomas. I mean, ridiculous.
International
Absolutely
players,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, you almost feel like second guess at them. You're like, you take two looks. It's like, oh my god, that's actually Curtly Beale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually supposed to make my debut the week before against Munster.
Oh yeah.
But it was just such a tight game obviously me being uncapped and unexperienced,
Quite young
and,
as well for a prop.
yeah, really young, and Wilco being just unbelievable, so good at what he does, and the engine on him for such a big man is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't get on that day, but
It's not like football
crazy.
where it's less physical, and like being a prop at 18, 19 is tough, because you're up against people who are probably like 10 years older, probably stronger maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so props are generally a bit older, because it's just quite a gnarly position where
It's quite physical. It's really
you
physical.
need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You need to be really big, and like I'm still trying to get bigger and stronger and faster to not improve on the aspects of the game that props have to do. And yeah, I mean, I was disappointed not to get on, obviously, but like
Yeah.
it was one of those, but like I kind of understand, because the game is so tight. You've got a capped South African on the pitch right now. He may be tired, but he was doing a bloody good job.
Did you win that game?
No, we lost.
Ah,
We lost.
That's a shame.
I want to say narrowly, but I think they may have scored a late try or two.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of made the scoreboard look a bit lopsided. But yeah, anyway, back to Racing. It was so cool, and at the Stoop as well, which even though there was no fans because it was during COVID, like
Yeah.
it's a very cool thing to say. I've made my debut at the Stoop against Racing.
That is pretty cool, in the equivalent of the Europa League or Champions League, like
Yeah,
for rugby.
Champions, yeah.
That is pretty cool. So, who did you make your Premiership debut against, and how did that feel?
Yeah, well, again, there's a weird subscript to it where so it was towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Where it was like 2 weeks before the semi-finals, so we had two more games and then the semi.
Oh yeah.
And and we played Sale, and they gave Joe a rest that week because he played something ridiculous number of games on the bounce.
Yeah.
So I got promoted to then second choice. It was there.
Yeah.
But so yeah, maybe against Sale got a decent wedge of time. I think 15 maybe.
I do remember watching it, and he made an absolute try-saving tackle.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if there was a fullback or not, but let's just say there wasn't. Yeah, it was. I just spotted it. Simon Hammersley caught a high ball and
Yeah,
beat the first guy who was our widest man at that point and just went around him.
it was a very
And
good tackle.
yeah,
Very
so
good
I
tackle.
flagged him and
Yeah,
just got there just in time. But yeah. So as I was saying, came on, got to play because Joe was being rested, and Joe obviously famously a loose head. But
yeah,
I'd made my debut at tight head because I'd spent the time between basically making my club debut and Premiership debut
yeah,
changing to loose head because Adam Jones at the club, who's the scrum coach and looking after me a lot and helping me so much, and I'm so happy to have him at the club.
yeah. That must be pretty cool to have an ex-Wales international as your coach.
Excellent. It's ridiculous, and he's so good with all the detail
Yeah,
about it that when he said, "Yeah, I think you'd do a better job. I think you'd be a better loose head than tight head."
yeah,
I was like, "Yes, whatever you say."
yeah,
Like even if
yeah,
it's going to take me time to change over and get used to it, which I'm still doing little changes to my technique, then it's I'm just going to do it because I trust you, kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So and I mean we did get quite convincingly beaten that day against Sale, but
I mean, you'd
it was
already
a
qualified for semi-finals, so I thought it was a
yeah,
perfect time
and
for you
like
to
I
make your
said,
debut. Because,
they were
like, yeah,
resting players, so it was kind of understandable almost, but again, it's more experience.
it's a good experience, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, then the semi-final and the final. I mean, don't think I've ever experienced anything like that in a rugby game. Um,
I mean, I've seen people call it the semi the best game of rugby ever, the best comeback ever.
I think
And I
so.
mean,
I think so too.
yeah, being on the sideline there, because in rugby you have these things called travelling reserve, which are players that
Yeah,
travel with the squad um, in case there's an injury, and then they can go onto the bench and all of that. And I was that, and was in that role during the semi-final and final,
yeah.
and so I was on the sideline, right up close to the pitch for the semi, and it was just ridiculous. The
The
comeback,
scenes, I could imagine the
yeah,
scenes.
and all our fans in the top, they absolutely squeezed our fans, Bristol, into the top tier, squeezed up in the top left corner
Yeah.
of the main stand, and they were so loud. They
Who
were
is it?
so
Who is
so
it
loud.
against? Sorry,
Bristol
Bristol.
Bears.
I think you're losing like I can't remember what it was, but it was quite a lot, and then you somehow managed to pull it back.
Yeah, I mean, just the sort of just trust in each other. Then let's not freak out. Let's stick to what we've prepared,
Yeah,
and we're gonna pull through. And obviously, you have to make changes because stuff is going wrong if you if you're down that many points. But it's just the calm heads to be like, yeah, we can make those changes, and we can now implement what we want to do,
yeah,
and absolutely blew them away.
yeah. I mean, 28-5 at halftime to Bristol.
Yeah,
You must
exactly.
think. You must think.
Coming back from
Wow.
28 down
Yeah,
is a joke.
it's
Scoring
ridiculous. And then
43 points.
yeah, that must be an absolute mental scenes.
Yeah, and just the calmness almost I witnessed that
Yeah,
day of all the boys was something I'd never seen before, and it was such a good experience for me as a fan and now player. It's of Quins. It's unbelievable.
and then the final. Who was that against then? And you won. Congratulations. But who was
Yeah,
it against?
we won, and that was against ex Chiefs, and they hadn't finished top in the league before the playoffs, but they kind of dominated
Yeah,
the league, and we did. I knew we were gonna win that day, but I wasn't sure on how on like what kind of things would like push the game in certain ways, and whether that would like be in their favor or ours. And
yeah,
I thought again we just stuck to what we did. We did it our way, which everyone in rugby media and sport media just thought it was impossible.
Yeah, I mean, Exeter probably were the favourites to win, but then obviously
I'd say
you just came out of the blocks and just won. Well, it was a good game, 40-38, very tight.
Yeah,
And yeah,
another really good game, and yeah, it's just the unbelievable work put in.
yeah,
Just coming from the top down and bottom up, the coaches putting a great plan in place in talking to key players about certain aspects of the game, putting a really educated plan together to take down Exeter was crazy. And then the players bit with the effort they put in, the attention to that detail, and learning that and commenting on it and almost just like trying to solve the problem. It was a problem we needed to solve. And that was even before we got on the pitch, for goodness sake. And yeah, they did so well. I just can't wait to be involved in a Quins team, like on the pitch, involved in the match 23 in another final for Quins. It's so inspiring.
It's like obviously your first season as a professional rugby player at Quins, and you win the trophy. You're the best team in England. Like, how did that feel? You must have thought, wow. I've come a long way from playing at Cobham School to now lifting a trophy with Joe Marler. I
mean, obviously, I feel part of the team because obviously, us boys in the background who are putting a shift in training and giving them good competition in training to make them better. So I do feel part of it, but I wouldn't say like I've won the Prem. Like, I wouldn't say that. But what it does do, it shows that I'm in a very good place and at a very, very good club who have we've won the Prem twice now, know how to win trophies.
Yeah.
And that just focus on the ethos of like relationships and being together. I mean, it's so positive, and I just can't wait to do it myself, really.
Yeah, I mean, it must have felt good though, being on the side that won the Premiership.
Oh, 100%. That inner fan came out. Absolutely loved it. But as a player now, as I said, that's what I want to do now because it was so close and I've witnessed firsthand the effort the lads put in.
Yeah, fair enough. So moving on from the final, you're playing in the same team as Danny Kerr and Joe Marler and loads of like really experienced rugby players who played for many games in England. Like, that must feel special. That must feel really special.
Yeah, I mean, it feels special, but what I quickly realised that if you're not getting anything out of them, if you're not asking them questions, getting little tips off them, then what are you doing?
Like, you must learn a lot from Joe Marler because he's the same position as you. I think he's
exactly.
Like,
so loads around the scrum with Joe.
Yeah,
he helped quite a lot with that.
Did he give like good advice? Like, did he teach you well?
Yeah, really good advice. It was really helpful and really honest as well.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh yeah, you're doing really well and not interested.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who's straight to the point. And like, if he thinks you're bad, he'll tell you. If he thinks you're doing well, he'll tell you. He just seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, and it's nice to know. Like, nice to know that what he thinks.
Yeah.
As well, because he's probably one of the best losers in the world at the moment.
And maybe ever, you know.
Exactly, to have him at the club and giving you little tips is so ideal.
Yeah, like him being there with experience must be good.
Yeah.
So moving on from Harlequins, you've represented England, haven't you?
England under 20s, yeah.
England under 20s, yeah. That must be pretty cool though. Like, even under 20s, you're representing your country, you know, playing for your country.
100%. I mean, and at the age grades that I've played in, it's felt really special. And I mean, this summer got to play for the 20s in Cardiff,
You got man of the match in that, didn't you?
In the Wales game I did, yeah. I loved that game. It was so much fun. I mean, playing Wales in Cardiff, right next to the Millennium, because we played in the Cardiff Arms Park, which is Cardiff Blues Stadium, and it's attached to the Millennium.
Oh yeah.
And we got to absolutely give them a right old thrashing.
So you beat the Welsh. You got man of the match. Yeah. What more could you want? What more could you want?
A try. That's what.
So, I think it was a couple of years ago. He went on a under-18 tour to South Africa. How was that tour? How was it?
Yeah. Again, an unbelievable experience. Getting to even to go to South Africa was a cool experience, and then to play against other international teams was so cool, and almost given the responsibility to like represent all the rugby players in the school level and academy level was really special, and I even got to captain.
Yeah, you were captain for a couple of games, weren't you?
Yeah, for the first game against Argentina, and it was so special to captain England, and I mean, it was such a great tour. There were so many good lads on that tour, and so many good memories from it.
But that must felt like a really good achievement. Like, you're walking your country out against Argentina in South Africa. Like that must felt special.
Yeah, it really was, and in the moment, obviously, felt really proud, and I still am proud of that achievement. But again, like it is when I'm very young still, when we're still young, is that these are kind of stepping stones to that top level.
Yeah.
And just hopefully that I can keep on working hard and improving, and hopefully that will come.
Yeah. So the World Cup, I think it's next year. Are we going to see you there, or 2023? Fin Baxter scoring a try to win the World Cup against the Aussies.
Well, you never know, but we'll have to see. I don't think so, but
if you make the squad, I'll put a £5 bet on you scoring the first try.
Okay.
And you better score. You better score.
Better score. I mean, 5, won't we? But if I can keep on improving, that's what I really want to do at the moment. Getting some good time in a Quins shirt.
Yeah.
Is my goal at the moment.
You never know what could happen though. You never know. You could have a breakthrough season where you play every game, get called up to the England side.
Exactly, like some of the lads this year, Freddie Stewart, Rafi Quirk, unbelievable stuff from them.
I mean, Louis Liner's had a bit of a breakthrough season as well, hasn't he?
He's had a very good year and a half. Yeah, I mean, breaking into the Quins team, I think around January last year. Really start loads of starts, and he took it with two hands and just absolutely blew up. He played so well in his games, and scoring, was it 2 in the final?
I think it was 2. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. He's the youngest try scorer in a Premiership final as well.
How old is he? 22?
No, he must be like 20, 21.
Really?
Yeah, he's really young. He's the year above me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, he is only 20.
There you go.
Days. I thought it was like 23.
No.
But I was wrong. Okay, so what would you say your best moment in rugby has been? It could be schoolboy rugby, it could be Harlequins, it could be England, but what would you say your best achievement is?
It would definitely make my debut for Quins.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So because once obviously you get out of, I mean, I know I'm not out of 20s yet, but once you get out of this kind of school system and academy system, it's a very big pond, and there's not a lot of milestones to go, and I feel like people can very easily get lost, and that's a major milestone that I'm very happy to kind of get so early.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all that's done is push me on to kind of reach the next one, which I
Yeah.
can't wait for, really. And but just that day was so good. I enjoyed it so much. I remember once because we I remember once we kind of like finished the game. Everyone got kind of had a shower, had a few beers, got changed. I stood in on the end of the tunnel on the edge of the pitch and just had a little brief moment and just thought how special it was, and it was
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm
nice.
really proud of that.
Yeah. So regarding schoolboy rugby, how did you adapt the change from schoolboy rugby to professional rugby? Because obviously it's much different. Like when you're playing at school, you're playing against just normal school kids, but now you're
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
with professionals and against professionals. Like how did you adapt to that?
Um, well, the biggest change from school to professional rugby was for me the scrummaging. It was just a whole different level and took a whole lot of little breakouts with Bomb and teaching me but basically teaching me how to scrum. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's actually quite. It's actually I find it still silly to this day that it is that different.
Yeah.
But so that was the biggest change. But like uh, how it's just working really hard and you're in like your early years. It's just trying to get better at everything because as much as you may have a strength, like there'll be people at the club that can do it better than you, and you need
Yeah.
to ask them about how they do it and what ways and all of this, and so you can read off that and take that as well.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So setbacks. So how do you overcome setbacks? Like what do you do?
Well, I mean, probably the most major or recent setback I've had is my hand. I've broken a bone in my hand and have a bit of time out now.
Oh.
Um, yeah, which is annoying, but it's a chance to kind of get my one fix my hand, but to use the time also to improve different aspects of me like off the rugby field. So my conditioning, certain lifts, getting stronger to really try and improve my
Yeah.
scrummaging, trying to get stronger. And then once my kind of hands heal, I'll be back in the mix,
Yeah.
hopefully in even better nick than I was before going in.
Yeah. Because
And
sometimes, like, well, obviously I don't know this, but sometimes an injury it can like make you stronger, make you more determined, and makes you fight more for the role or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. And I feel it definitely makes you more hungry. The lads, some of the lads my age played in the Prem Cup game, for Quins last
Yeah.
weekend, and there was a obviously I was very happy for them that they got to play, and it's a big achievement. But there's a little bit of me that was just very jealous and wanted to play and wanted to be out there with them. Um, so yeah, makes you very hungry.
Yeah. It makes you more hungry. It makes you more determined.
Mm.
So, finally, what advice would you give to someone who's wanting to become a professional rugby player or sports person in general?
Um, I'd say I feel I'm not sure about other sports obviously because
Yeah.
haven't done that, but I feel rugby there are quite a few a lot of people want to comment on you on like what you need to improve on what they think
Yeah.
about how you play and all of that, and I feel you need to really this totally doesn't take it the wrong way, but you need to pick who you choose to. You need to listen to the people that you trust and that
Yeah.
care about you. Because I along the years had many various coaches, and I feel and I've had a lot of good coaches, luckily and thankfully, that have made me a lot better.
Yeah.
But it's just listening to the right people's advice and taking it on because you'll get so much advice on what some people think you're bad at and good at, and I mean you really need to listen to the right people. That doesn't mean the people that are saying, oh, you're amazing, you're so good at this, don't listen to them, like
Yeah.
they don't know what they're talking about. you need to make that up in your head about if you like. Do you trust them? Do you think they know what they're talking about? Are they trying to make you better? Do they care about you? And I feel loads of boys get a bit misled by that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, taking the right advice and then just working incredibly hard. So someone told me a couple of months ago when they were getting back from when they were getting back from training or something, and I found them in the gym doing like another session, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, let's go home," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, but so and because he's got a bit of a rivalry with another player at a different club," and he was like, "Yeah, but so and so's not doing this,"
Yeah.
kind of thing, and that kind of hunger to be better than everyone
Yeah.
else,
The
and
hunger, the desire as well.
yeah, you've got to walk the walk as well as talk the talk, and I mean, yeah, he's got me doing it a bit now as well, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I guess the more the more you fight, the more you get, the more of a chance you get it. If you know what I mean, like
yeah, exactly. And I guess the more you kind of work on it, and the more you know yourself and know deep down if stuff's good enough or not good
yeah.
enough. It'll only make you better.
Okay, yeah. Well, Finn, I think that's all we've got time for today. Um, Thank you very much for joining me. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Uh, no, but thank you very much for having me. It's been a lot of fun, Reed.
Well, thank you very much for doing this. Um,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.